It's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and tackle your own to-do list. On today's episode, we teach you how to frame your basement in preparation for refinishing it. It's that time again. Load the truck, ladders, tools, all materials. And don't forget the coffee maker. Let's go. Love home reno? You found the right channel. I am your host, Bob Assadourian, for the Just Ask Bob show. This show has two goals in mind, always. Number one, to fully and completely demystify home renovations. From the foundation right to the rooftop. Number two, if for whatever reason you don't want to tackle it yourself, maybe the ladder you have is not tall enough to reach the second story eaves trough, or you simply do not have the time, then we will demystify the in and outs of these home improvement projects to help you. We will advocate for you to help you find what I like to call the right contractor for you and your home. Not any contractor, the right one for you and your home. The program you're watching today is interactive. Every episode is based on your question. You can send it to us whatever means possible. You can find us on social media. You can visit our website, justaskbob.com, fill in our quick submit form, and send us what your question is. We'll do our best to answer it on this very program. If we cannot, then we will answer it via our newsletter. Big shout out to John Best from the Bay Observer, who now carries our newsletter, going into, I believe, the second season carrying our newsletter. Licensing, absolutely critical. Unlike reality television, today's contractor is actually licensed. Not only one, but two. Contractor portion and the master. Why is that important for you, the homeowner? I can go on for hours, but I won't. Scan the QR code on your screen to visit our database, largest database on the net, for dozens of news interviews regarding the in and outs of home improvements, licensing, insurance, contractors, all that good important stuff that you need to learn. Now we're going to kick it off with the viewer's email today. Hello, Bob. I've had quotes ranging anywhere from $40,000 right to $150,000 to finish my basement. No way am I paying that kind of money. I'm going to do it myself. Yes, I know I need a permit because I've been listening to you rant about it for years. Bob, please do a show on basement finishing. Alan, thank you so much. Really appreciate the email, and I appreciate the fact that you actually been listening for the last 10 seasons, me ranting about permits. The permit's important, trust me. If you want to do it yourself or you're hiring out, make absolutely certain that the permit is there. Let's take a quick moment to think about it. In the absence of you yourself being a master licensed contractor or having vast knowledge of building code, you're hiring a company, you're hiring a contractor, service provider to remodel your basement. The permit is there to protect you from that contractor you've hired. If they're doing something wrong, the city inspector will tell you. So you've got a city inspector coming in at certain stages. They're going to evaluate the contractor's work to make sure things are being done properly. That's absolutely critical. Not only will you need a building permit, you'll also need permit drawings. The municipality, all municipalities require this, permit drawings. So again, these things are very important. Do your research. We have a program today, which we're going to take you to our job site. We're reframing or revisiting a basement where we're doing a complete remodel. Let's take a moment to talk about the shopping experience. Two choices, A or B. A, you want to be lazy, you want to fork out some money and pay for delivery, that's fine. But you're not going to get good, straight lumber. Most circumstances, most likely, they're going to pack you hockey sticks. They're going to pack you bowed lumber, and that's not fair to you. Go pick out the lumber yourself. Make sure it's straight. Make sure it's quality. Bring it home yourself. So today's episode, we're going to show you a variety of tools to use, what skill sets you need, and the education in place to frame your own basement. Stay tuned. As contractors, you can see we have a hard life, especially in the dead of winter. This is a lot of work trekking the lumber across the snow through the basement window, but it is the easiest way. Going through this home, we'd have to right, left, up and down the staircase. Much easier to get it in. So plan how you're going to get your lumber into your basement. Think it through and use the most efficient method, always. Our lumber's in, we're dry, and we're finally warm. Let's talk about what's going on here. We're in about a 2/3 area of a basement. So this is a rec room, block foundation. We're going to be framing up against it to create a cavity to insulate and to create wood studs to attach the drywall to. Over here, let's take a moment to talk about this white stuff. This is Tyvek house wrap. This is not a requirement of the Ontario Minimum Building Code. However, it's smart. As per our stamp drawings, we need to frame 1 inch away from the foundation. This is for 2 reasons. One, it's to protect the wood from direct concrete contact because that'll cause mold. Reason number 2, we've created an airspace. We've created an area for the air to move freely to dry things out. Now, with that being said, a barrier here directly against the concrete's not required, but we do use it. We install Tyvek house wrap and we flip it around. When you're installing it outside, you have the writing showing. When you install it in the basement, you reverse it. Obvious reason being, when moisture gets through here and it tries to penetrate the Tyvek, Tyvek is permeable. Tyvek will dry outward. So that's very, very important. Please never, ever use a vapor barrier here. If you put a vapor barrier on the cold side, and then you put a vapor barrier on the front side, the warm side, you've now created a non-permeable surface on both sides. You will create rot, mildew, and mold inside the cavity. So remember, permeable surface. All right, Ryan. First step is to get the Tyvek up. Tape all your seams. Remember, this is your own home. Do a quality, thorough job. Very important, we tape it everywhere. While Ryan's taping that, let me take a moment to talk about the floor. Prior to my company being hired to come in to do this basement remodel, there was always a subfloor. I've inspected the subfloor and it is fine. It has styrofoam underneath it, which is excellent. So it creates a drainage. This is almost like a dry core, but better. For all the viewers at home, pop into your local big box stores and look at the dry core. What is the problem with dry core? It's not real plywood. The dry core is made up of OSB, oriented strand board, which I like to say if you spit on it, it'll swell up. Not good for holding moisture, not good for being in contact with moisture. This subfloor is amazing. It's not the little 2 foot by 2 foot dry core squares. This is 4 feet by 8 feet, 32 square feet a piece with the styrofoam underneath. Very good, very old-fashioned, sturdy-built subfloor. The moisture, if it gets in, it gets behind the Tyvek, and our Tyvek is not laying on top of the subfloor. It is purposely behind it. It'll bring the moisture down to the concrete, and it'll weep under the white styrofoam insulation that's beneath the 5/8 wood subfloor. There are a couple different ways to frame a wall. You can build a whole wall on the floor and then lift it into place, or you can build it as you go. I prefer doing it this way, building it as I go, because in older homes, nothing's level, nothing's straight, everything's crooked. So this is the method. We have a bottom plate right there on the floor. That bottom plate would typically be fired through with a powder actuated nailer through the foundation. In this case, we use wood screws because we have a wood subfloor. So the bottom plate is permanently attached. We don't need to plumb with that. We're going to put up the top plate, and we're not going to fully attach it. We're going to keep that loose so that we can use that with a level to plumb to and fro to get the far right stud and the far left one plumbed. Once they're plumb and we check in the middle, we're good to go. Then we just got to figure out our layout and start installing the studs every 16-inch center. Ryan, you ready? Let's do it. Okay, I'm good with my mark. We're going to take a moment to test how close we are with the wall being plumb. Ryan, best spot is check it at the corner. Like each corner we'll check. Remember, the top's only held with 2 screws, so we can easily adjust it. Okay, push her tight. All right. You tell me, how close are we?
Pretty good.
Really? Oh, wow, that's dead on. So again, for those at home, please remember, you have a bottom plate, you have a top plate. The bottom is permanent. We've glued it, we've screwed it, it doesn't move. The top's only 2 screws. If we're not plumb, we can adjust the top plate. Let's check the other side here now. Don't go right to the end, Ryan. It's more accurate if we're right to the end. Okay, remember the bubble never lies. Wow. Yeah. Doesn't get better than that. Now, if we really want to be picky, let's check the center. Now you got to make sure when you're doing this, you got to be full contact. You have to be tight, touching, and let's go to the top. Not like that. Tight, tight, hit it with the level. Excellent. Now we're going to let Ryan put on his safety glasses and use his favorite toy, courtesy of Milwaukee. Very nice. Now that our top plates are in and they're plumbed to each other, we don't have to plumb every single stud. When you put in the stud, as long as it's flush here, flush there, flush here, automatically it is plumb in this direction. Now, you are going to put a level on it side to side because you want your 16-inch cavities dead on. Why? Because the rock wool insulation is pre-sized for 16-inch center cavities. If you're not level and you've got wider at the top, narrower at the bottom, then your insulation won't fit. And you'll have to cut a whole bunch of jagged strips and put it in. But that's for a future episode. I'm going to build these walls on 16-inch centers. I prefer that for strength. You have to get the markings in. Very first thing is, I know I'm starting off with a stud. So I put one here and I traced it. So now I'm going to take my tape measure and begin it on center. So there's a reason it's called 16-inch on centers. There's my center. There's my 16. The red is already pre-marked on the tape measures. So the next red is at 32. The next one is at 48. Buy a good tape measure. These marks are all made for you. That's our last one. Now, we're not quite done yet. We're going to go over all these again. This is a DIY show. I want to show you how to make it bulletproof. Put your stud down. Make sure your mark's on the center. It is absolutely critical that these studs are 16-inch on center, or you will have a nightmare with your insulation. These are not load-bearing walls. These walls are simply to hold up the drywall, and in addition to create a cavity to house the insulation So we're not dealing with structure, but unless you want the messiest installation, you've got to be careful to be 16 on center. And of course, we know we're going to have one at the end. Next step is to start cutting every stud. In a perfect, ideal world, you could measure and just cut a whole bunch of them. They're not going to be exact though, because this isn't a perfect situation. These are older homes, floors, ceilings, walls. Ideally, not everything's level, not everything's straight. So we're going to measure them one at a time. And we got Ryan on the saw. 83.5, Ryan. All right, awesome. Two different ways to attach these. You can use a drill and screw them in. Now, what I like to explain is for the DIY installers, for the homeowners, there are some advantages with the drill. It's not as fast, but you can disassemble your work. If you make mistakes, if you have to do alterations, things change as the job progresses. Very, very easy to take your work apart. I'll get a few in, and then we're going to have Ryan up on it. He loves the nail gun. It's fast, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but you can't take your work apart. You have to use the Sawzall to cut it apart. So keep that in mind. Hopefully, if I measured right, this will fit in without too much stress. All right, get it in real close here for those of you at home. That's not flush. Now it's flush. We get at the bottom. Remember, bottom and top plate have already been plumbed. What that means is, as long as you stay tight to them, automatically you're okay. All right, nice and tight. You want to have at least 2 screws in. This one is toe screwing. The top may tend to move. Bang it back in. Sometimes you might have to hold it. As per building code, this is non-structural. This could be 24-inch centers. I don't like that. Bumping into it, you could split the drywall or cause it to crack if it has 24-inch centers. Let's check with the level. Does not get much better than that. We're going to switch it up now. We're going to have Ryan put in the next 2 with the nail gun. Much, much faster, but you need the accuracy. You cannot just unscrew it, zip it, and pull it out. So here are the nails. They're made by Pass Load. The nails are intense. They're very, very strong. All right, Ryan, hit me.
83.5.
Awesome.
She is mint.
Very nice. Very nice. Wow, and fast. When your cuts are too short and they don't fit the mark, do not throw the stud away. Don't even toss it out of the way or put it away. Try it on the next one to the right down the row. Remember, the measurements change. You may find the next spot to the right or 2 spots over, the stud will fit, so you can save it. All right, Ryan, now it's time to fly. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 left. Let's knock these off as fast as possible so we can get to the final reveal for the wonderful viewers at home. We're running out of time on the show. We've got to get back to the shop for Bob's top picks and bewares. So let me show you now. This is the last stud in the wall. Now, we need to create a corner. We need to create a screwing surface for the drywall. So we're going to have one more stud here. Technically, this one ends the wall. Then in the original wall that was always in the basement, we're going to add another one here. So for your drywall on this wall, that's your screwing surface. Your drywall on this wall, that's your screwing surface. We'll add these afterwards. Pro tip, cross blocking. 2x4 that goes horizontal between two studs. That's not required under the Ontario Minimum Building Code for walls that are under 10 feet. So if they're taller than 10 feet, you need cross blocking. These walls are not even 8 feet. And again, they're not even load bearing. So they're not really required, however they are. Let me explain. See this stud? Once again, what will many people say in the comment section of the show or the program? Many people are going to say, Bob's nuts. You don't need a cross block. The drywall will lock the stud in place. Yes, believe it or not, the drywall will lock this in place. However, you ever heard of a screw pop? That's why the screw pops happen. You don't want the drywall locking the stud in place. You want the stud to be structurally sound. You want it locked in place before you drywall. That's why we use cross blocks. Now, back to the wall. Remember the bounciness earlier? Let's give it a shot. Locked in place, and there you have it. That's how you frame your basement walls in preparation of finishing. Now, I must add a note to this. Apply for a building permit, yes, because you're going to be insulating. All basement remodel projects require a building permit. Stay tuned. We're back at the shop for some top picks and bewares. For everything home rental, follow us on social media. I hope you enjoyed the program, and I honestly hope that you learn. That's the purpose. We want to teach. Now on to a segment of the program called Bob's Top Picks and Bob's Bewares. This is based on my over 35 years experience. Top pick for this program, this episode, are two of them. Number one is the Milwaukee M18 drill for using the 3-inch screws to fasten your framing together. Number two top pick is again the Milwaukee M18 framing nailer. Phenomenal tool. But they're two different tools for two different skill sets. Number one, if your experience isn't that high in framing or putting things together, I prefer that you use, or I recommend that you use the drill, because you can take your work apart. Take it apart, start over. If you're using the nail gun, there's nothing to be taken apart. You're going to need another Milwaukee tool. You're going to need the Milwaukee reciprocating saw, otherwise known as a Sawzall. You're going to have to cut your lumber apart and then start again. So this takes time, costs you time, and it costs you in materials. So again, depending on your skill set, either the drill or either the nailer to create your wall assembly. Now, as far as a Bob's Beware, we have a very serious Bob's Beware. And again, I'll put the QR code back up on the screen to scan it. This is to keep away from the crooked overcharging and unlicensed contractor. Do not let anybody tackle your basement renovation project that steers you away from a permit, away from paying HST, and away from them having a license. So that's the beware. Going with somebody unlicensed that's not going to do a proper legal job in your basement. Now let's talk about experience for a moment. This is a teaching program. We proudly host, hands down, the largest home improvement database on the net at justaskbob.com. Let's talk about radio. Some people learn best by listening. We have, not just from one station, we have the former Just Ask Bob radio show edition from 2 stations. dozens and dozens of programs to learn from. Other people learn best from reading. We have dozens and dozens of DIY columns on our database where you can read to learn. Others learn best, just as you're doing right now, by watching the Just Ask Bob show, now in its 10th season. Over 100 of these episodes, all on the website. So whether you learn best by listening, reading, or watching, we have it all on our database. Want to go old school? Just pick up the phone and call? Absolutely no problem. We welcome your calls. I will answer the phone specifically myself and return all your calls. 289-649-0196. Again, that's 289-649-0196. Thank you. Until next time.